The Kremlin says Moscow supports Iran's stance against US and Israeli strikes, affirming its commitment to deepening ties with Tehran. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov dismissed claims of weak support, stressing that Russia holds a clear position backing Iran. He rejected efforts to undermine the Moscow-Tehran partnership. Peskov also denied a Reuters report that Iran's supreme leader sent a written message to Putin, confirming only indirect communication. Russia says it supports that Iran-Israel ceasefire, but warns it's too early to judge its effectiveness amid conflicting field reports. Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said Moscow welcomed the truce, reportedly brokered by the United States and Qatar. But he also noted that renewed strikes had been reported despite the announcement. Lavrov urged caution, stressing that Russia stands firmly in favor of peace, but that current information remains unclear and evolving. China has expressed concern over rising tensions in the Middle East and called on Israel and Iran to pursue diplomacy. Foreign Ministry spokesperson said Beijing opposes further escalation and warned that military action cannot deliver lasting peace. He urged a return to political dialogue and affirmed China's readiness to work with the global community to support regional stability and a long-term resolution. At the EU-Canada summit, leaders called for urgent diplomatic efforts and a ceasefire amid rising tensions in the Middle East. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney condemned Iran's nuclear ambitions and support for terrorism, while European Council President Antonio Costa stressed adherence to international law and nuclear non-proliferation. Costa also backed a two-state solution and called for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza. The remarks followed Iran's missile strike on a U.S. base in Qatar.
These are violations of international law. These are the ones we looked at. Thank you. Iran has pursued nuclear weapons.
Egypt has condemned Iran's attacks on Qatar, calling them violations of sovereignty and international law. In a statement, the Egyptian Foreign Ministry expressed full solidarity with Qatar, stressing that the strikes breached the UN Charter and threatened regional stability. Cairo urged all parties to de-escalate and commit to a ceasefire, emphasizing the importance of diplomacy in managing rising tensions. Foreign ministers from Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Bahrain, Kuwait, Iraq, and Jordan have agreed on the critical need to de-escalate tensions and exercise restraint following Iranian missile attacks on Qatar and Iraq. Egypt's Foreign Ministry Badr Abdulati conducted phone calls with his counterparts to discuss the situation, reaffirming Egypt's full support for Qatar and condemning any threats to its sovereignty and regional stability. Lebanese Prime Minister Nawaf Salam says stability in the region requires a nuclear-free Middle East and Israel's full withdrawal from southern Lebanon. Speaking in Doha alongside his Qatari counterpart, Salam reaffirmed Lebanon's push to extend state authority and reform its judiciary. He credited Qatar for helping prevent the broader war between Iran and Israel, stressing the need for diplomacy to ensure lasting regional stability. Qatar has pledged energy support for Lebanon and condemned the Israeli ceasefire violations, urging UN action to uphold Lebanese sovereignty. At a joint press conference with Lebanese Prime Minister Nawaf Salam, Qatari Prime Minister Mohammed bin Abdurrahman Al Thani reaffirmed Qatar's commitment to Lebanon's energy and infrastructure needs. He also condemned the Iranian strike on Qatar and called on the Security Council to respond to Israeli breaches of the truce.